It's time for another 2022 setup, but this one's not for me. Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. My name is Beth, and today I am setting up my son's bullet journal for 2022. For those of you who have been here since the very beginning, you'll remember that I set up a bullet journal for him for 2021 that was a Christmas gift last year, and it was a complete surprise. I will link that flip through in the cards above and down below in the description box if you want to check that out. It is full of all of his favorite fandoms. I didn't know if he was going to like it or if bullet journaling was for him. Did he use it every day? No. But did he give it a try? Absolutely. And he loved the journal enough that he wants another one for 2022. This year I let him pick his own journal, and it was no surprise when he landed on this Cup of Galaxy journal from Notebook Therapy, which is just stunning with these holographic pages on the sides. Notebook Therapy does have 160 GSM paper, and there are 128 pages in this notebook. In addition to picking his own journal, he will also be picking his own themes. So we are going to carry the Galaxy theme from the cover right into his 2022 setup per his request. Now, the one piece of the journal that I have not yet touched is his nameplate. I have left this for him to put his name in. He is considering whether he would like an art piece done in here, but for now we are going to go ahead and leave this blank and let him fill it in when he is ready. As always, I glued these first two pages together already to get them out of the way since they don't lay perfectly flat. This first spread is going to be both a quote to issue in the new year as well as his 2022 cover page. I do have everything sketched out, but we are going to dive into some paints. And to do that, I have some rolls of washi tape that I've had for quite some time that I am going to use to mask off the pages, both around the edges and underneath as well. I find that washi tape, even under the page you're masking off, works better than another piece of paper. With the washi tape in place, we are ready to paint, and I am going to be using these Artist Loft gouache paints in the colors Prussian Blue, Purple, and Lamp Black. I picked up these paints at Michael's, and they are very inexpensive. I've mentioned before that as not being a full-time artist, I'm not willing to invest in expensive paint or watercolors, and these ones work just well for what I use in my journal. Now, he asked for purple and blue swirly galaxy sort of a theme, and the more that I got into it and the more I experimented with it, to get the look that I wanted, I was going to have to use just way too much water. And so I ended up using a little bit of the blue and the purple. Otherwise, we went deep blue to match the color of his journal. And this is one of those setups that takes way longer than normal because I'm waiting for paint to dry in between coats. To get this really deep bluish purple that I am using around the edges, I did mix all three of those paints together, especially with a little bit of the black just to deepen that color. He also specifically asked that his accent color and stars be in gold, so I am using gold in this quote. It doesn't show up as well on the white paper on camera, but you can definitely see it in the journal in person. And that quote says, "What do stars do? They shine." And that comes from Neil Gaiman's Stardust. This font that I am using was inspired by a sticker pack that I saw on the shelves at Michael's while I was picking up other supplies, and I am using them also like constellations, putting a little star point at every juncture on each letter. For getting the galaxy look throughout this cover page, I did go with a gold gel pen here in the beginning. For subsequent pages, I do abandon the gold gel pen and go straight to the Splatter gold paint method in order to speed up that process. But I did want to get a little version of the constellation of Gemini. My son is a Gemini down into this bottom right corner. And here is his final cover page for 2022. The gold stars are a little over the top, but so is he, so it is a good fit for him. Since I'll be setting up all of the pages in his journal, he doesn't need anything like a grid guide, so we are jumping straight into the future log. After masking off the pages with the same washi tape I used to do the cover page, we're jumping straight into getting a galaxy look here at the top of his future log. And I am speeding this up super fast because y'all, I don't like the way this turned out at all. I was trying to achieve the same sort of blue and purple wispy look as I had on the cover page coming down towards the mini calendars, and it really wasn't working for me, so we had to fix it. And when you're collaborating on a fix, sometimes you have to do that off camera. And this is so much better. I have just brought down that deep blue color from the cover page. Again, trying to mimic that wispy, wasn't working. Brought it all the way down, used a piece of gold washi tape as a clean border across the top, and then did the letters for each month with the gold gel pen in the same font that I was using in the cover. This is a little less cohesive than with the cover, but overall I like this so much better. For supplies on this page, I did use the same gold Uniball gel pen. It is my favorite, as well as the same Artist Loft paints. I then used Clearo gold watercolors to splatter onto the sky. And then for the deep blue and the goldish color yellow on the mini calendars, those are Archer and Olive Acrylographs. Again, all the supplies will be linked in the description box below. And this change precipitated change through the rest of the setup, so we're going to go ahead and turn the page to the second half of his future log, again, which is already set up and ready to go. This is just proof positive that despite your best efforts, sometimes things just don't go to plan and you've got to come up with a plan B or find a way to correct it. And at some point in time, it happens to every single one of us. But for now, let's move on to the next spread, which we are just going to refer to as a labor of love. This is his moon calendar for 2022 with the moon phases. In researching the moon phases, I looked at multiple websites, not just one, before coming up with this calendar style, so I do hope the dates and the moon phases are correct. But let's go ahead and get the paint on the page. This will be the last time you see me do the deep blue painting. I do use it on other pages, but went ahead and got that all down before we moved on to subsequent setups. And then for all of my tiny moons, I am using this Staedtler circle maker as well as an Archer and Olive Acrylograph in a deep blue color and the same gold gel pen. Shortly here, I do abandon the circle maker and just go back to freehanding it because I was getting too much bleed from the paint pen and the stencil. This is the type of spread that takes so much work, but it is so satisfying to look at when it is completed. Once all of the little moons were in place, I went back in with the gold gel pen and touched them off with that little bit of shimmer. With all of the tiny moons finally finished, it's time to peel off this washi tape in the most satisfactory straight line ever. Here in the bottom left corner, I am going to put another Gemini constellation, and I tried to give myself some guiding dots, but constellations are a little difficult to freehand. And then I am just going to put the title of moon and connect all of the little moons together with a gold line across each month. And then it's time to make this look like a starry sky. To do that, I am going to get a couple of pages of paper and stick it under one side and then over top the page that I have. These are my Clearo gold watercolors. I will again link them with the rest of the supplies in the description box below. I just get a fairly loose paint and then tap it over the top. And as you can see, as we move on to the next spread, as I stated before, I have already gone in with the deep blue paint to get that down ahead of time. This is going to be a place for him to write his goals. To do the headers, I'm filling those in with the deep blue acrylograph, and then I'll fill in the titles with gold. While the acrylograph sets, I'm going to get ready to go ahead and do our paint splatter technique. This time I will do the top and the left side, and then we will change it around and do the right and the bottom side after I write in his goals. And the goals we've decided on for this year are personal, spiritual, wellness, financial, environment, work, relationships, and recreation. And that is his completed goals page for 2022. And again, what took the longest was simply waiting for the paint to dry. Moving on to his next two spreads, and these are two that he specifically asked for. The one on the left is going to be a check it out page for recommendations that people give him for books, music, movies, and television, that sort of a thing. And then he's decided he needs to watch more existing films. And so we're going to do a 22 and 22 for him, but it's going to be 22 movies and 22 on the right. Question of the day, do you have a 22 and 22 spread? I did not set one up for myself, though I am doing one here for my son, but I know a lot of people like to do that every year and take a different spin on it than maybe some others do. So let me know if you have a 22 and 22 spread and what yours looks like. So again, on the left we have his check it out page with read, listen, and watch, and on the right is his 22 movies and 22, and we're just going to galaxy up with a few stars here in the corners. Moving on to the final spread in his 2022 setup, and my son has started dabbling a little more into cooking, and so we created a page here on the left that is going to be a place for him to jot down recipes that he wants to try or recipes that he liked. So I'm simply going to put in a header and a border and otherwise leave this page blank for him to fill out as he needs. And since this journal is for my theater kid and I am his mom, I put in one of my favorite quotes from William Shakespeare from Much Ado About Nothing, spoken by Beatrice. It reads, "There was a star danced, and under that was I born." And with just a few final touches, we are ready for the flip through. Thank you for tuning in to yet another 2022 setup video. I know this one came a little late. We can chalk that one up to indecision, but it is done and ready to go. If this is your first time watching, or if you are not yet subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. It really does help me out a lot. And stay tuned as I set up my son's January 2022 setup coming next. But for now, we'll leave you with yet another of Neil Gaiman's quotes from Stardust. A philosopher once asked, "Are we human because we gaze at the stars, or do we gaze at them because we are human? Pointless, really. Do the stars gaze back?" Now that is a question. Now that 2022 is here, I hope your year is filled with magic and, yes, some Stardust. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Here are a couple more videos I think you might enjoy.